You're welcome to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. Women dying of opioid overdose at unprecedented rates. The number of women dying from overdoses of opioid painkillers increased fivefold between 1999 and 2010, according to new data released today by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That's the CDC. The problem of prescription opioid drug overdoses in women is getting worse and getting worse quickly, CDC Director Tom Frieden, MD, MPH, said during a media briefing. Deaths due to opioid drugs have skyrocketed in women, mothers, wives, sisters, and daughters, all dying from overdoses at rates we have never seen before. The increase in opioid overdoses and opioid overdose deaths is directly proportional to the increase in prescription of painkillers. The increase of prescription of painkillers. Opioid prescriptions are increasing to an extent that we would not have anticipated and that could not possibly be clinically indicated, Dr. Frieden added. The CDC analyzed data from the National Vital Statistics Systems and the Drug Abuse Warning Network public use file. The study includes emergency department visits and deaths related to drug misuse, abuse, and overdose, as well as analysis of specific prescription painkillers. Although men are more likely to die of prescription opioid overdose, women are catching up, according to the new data reported on July 2nd. Since 1999, you ready for this? Since you're sitting down, look, if you're driving your car, pull over. I mean, seriously, pull over. Because you're going to flip out when I tell you this. Since 1999, the percentage increase in deaths was actually greater among women, 400% versus 265% in men. Prescription painkiller overdoses killed 48,000 women between 1999 and 2010. More than 6,600 women, or 18 women every day, died from a prescription painkiller overdose in 2010, the CDC says. 18 women a day. Now, that's 3 years ago. You think it's gotten less or more? 18 women a day die because of MD prescription overdose of painkiller medication. These are troubling numbers, Dr. Frieden says. It's unbelievable, but, you know, it gets worse. Studies have also shown that emergency room treatments have also increased to a remarkable extent. I lost my place here. In any event, it's a big... Oh, here it is. There were 4 times more deaths among women from prescription painkiller overdose than for cocaine and heroin deaths. 4 times. 4 times. Where's Nancy Reagan? 4 times more deaths because of prescription drugs in women than heroin or cocaine. 200,000 emergency department visits for opioid misuse or abuse among women. About 1 every 3 minutes. Yeah, we have a drug problem here, and it's because of the MDs. But does anywhere in the study, so 18 women a day, right? 1 every 3 minutes going to emergency rooms because of this, 1 every 3 minutes. Can you imagine what would happen? And we've used this metaphor again, but it's applicable. Can you imagine what would happen if 18 people a day died because of postal workers? If a postal workers killed 18 people a day, can you imagine what would happen if taxi cab drivers killed 18 people a day? Can you imagine what would happen if hockey coaches, you know, high school hockey teams, 18 hockey players, 18 high school hockey players a day died? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine what would happen? There'd be outrage. I mean, look at what happens with those horrible shootings at the school. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, one time die. And, you know, the country's in a huge debate for 3 months that goes unresolved, by the way. Huge debate, though, right? 18 women a day? Oh, no problem. We just passed that off. We don't even think about that. And nowhere in the study does anybody hold the doctor's feet to the fire. We say, oh, these are troubling numbers. Oh, things must be done. Yeah, what do you have to do? Fire the MD. Fire the MD, for goodness sake. Send the MD to jail. How about that? If I killed one patient with an herb, what do you think would happen to me? Would I get a pass? No. I'd be in the hooskow, baby. I'd be pilloried in the town square. Oh, and you'd read about it on front page headlines. Oh, those naturopaths. They're just quacks. But when the MDs do it, we give them a pass. Was it your mother? Was it your sister? Was it your wife? Was it your childhood sweetheart that died of an opioid pain overdose from an MD? You know what would happen if that happened to my wife-to-be? That doctor would be visited by somebody in the middle of the night. And it wouldn't be, for flowers. But what are we going to do, ladies and gentlemen? We're up against it so hard. The myth of the MD is so entrenched that even in their own community, when they see outrageous numbers like this, even inside of their own club, they don't think, we got to do some house cleaning here. They think, oh, no, what has to happen? We don't know. We'll just do another study. And again, this overlooks the obvious issue, the 300 million pound gorilla in the middle of the room that nobody's talking about. Why are so many women in pain in the first place? Why do so many women or men or anybody, why do people need so many darn pain meds in the first place? I'll tell you why. Because life is tough and MD-directed medical treatment for chronic pain doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's why people are in pain. They're not making it up. They're not hopelessly addicted because they're drug addicts, because they have weak wills, or because they came from broken families. They're addicted to pain meds because they had a physical condition that the MD was incapable of fixing, and they're in pain. Oh, you ever been in pain? Pain sucks. These people are in pain, so what do? They go to the people that they trust. They go to the people that they've been paying lifelong medical health insurance premiums for every month. Oh, the big white shining hospital on the hill. So they give them an arthritic treatment, it doesn't work. They give them another arthritic treatment, it doesn't work. They give them another arthritic treatment, it doesn't work. And so they bail and give them pain meds. And then, of course, they get addicted to the pain meds, not because they have weak wills, but because pain meds are addictive. Anybody takes pain meds, they're going to get addicted to it because it's a chemical addiction. It's not a psychological addiction. It's a chemical addiction. There's a difference. It's like nicotine. It's a chemical addiction. So the MD, incompetent therapeutic in the first place, drives the problem, and then the MDs try to fix the problem with pain meds, and then they don't manage the prescriptions. They don't keep an eye out for the storm. They give the stuff away like candy. Patients dying. Nobody goes to jail. No consequences. And we go straight to hell in a handbasket. What's it going to take? 18 women a day. Right? 18 women a day dead because of MD incompetence. For goodness sake. Again, you're welcome to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. The facts are unarguable. And from the proper perspective, everything makes sense. The perspective to bring to bear here, the driving message, the take-home message here is the best possible flippin' thing that you can do to secure your health is to fire your medical doctor, because if you're not careful, they're going to kill you. And because there are no consequences, it's going to happen again. Now, we have solutions. There is a way out of this monkey house. There is a way out of this maze. And it's with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. That's what we bring to the table. It's results-oriented. It's delivered by licensed physicians who are regulated and educated, graduated from fully accredited medical schools. That's not bad. Have to do continuing education credit every year. I have to do more continuing education credit than any MD in this country does. Naturopathic doctors know more about diagnostics than any MD in this country does. The only people selling snake oil in this country have MD after their name. Why anybody goes to the MD is beyond me. The only reason that they do is because they don't know there's a better way. They don't know there's a different way. Why don't they know? Because the MDs have gone out of their way to corner the market on medicine. My profession is illegal. You can't practice naturopathic medicine in 36 states in the U.S. You think we have a free market? Snap out of it. We do not. And because we don't have a free market, nobody knows what naturopathic medicine is, and the pharmaceutical companies and the MDs have been telling everybody for decades that I'm a quack. So, most people don't know what they don't know, and so they just trust their doctor. Because of Marcus Welby and MASH and Doogie Howser and Grey's Anatomy and House and all of these ridiculous TV shows that paint a completely false image of what really happens in medicine. 18 women a day. Does they ever make a TV show about that? Do they ever make a TV show that says 780,000 people a year are killed because of MD incompetence? They make a movie about that? No, they don't. Because the media, of course, has their feet and their hands and their pocketbooks embedded in the pharmaceutical industry. The drug companies are huge, and they have everybody by the short and curlies. Everybody. It's a big, bad voodoo daddy. And ladies and gentlemen, as bad as you're beginning to think it is, it's a million times, well, maybe not a million. It's 100 times worse. If you sat behind my desk for 7 days, you would be horrified. Not only at just incompetence, there's just improper diagnoses like the first caller. Ken goes in, to see his doctor in Newfoundland. He has a low blood count. It's low by 10 points. The doctor thinks he has a tumor. Wants to do all of this expensive, dangerous testing. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Why don't we just do a 50-cent occult blood test? Wouldn't that be a smarter thing to do first? I mean, why don't you poke around the guy's abdomen, for goodness sake? Why don't you do some old-fashioned doctoring? CT scan my butt. For goodness sake, ladies and gentlemen, modern medicine is a runaway train. It's a Machiavellian monopoly juggernaut on steroids, and they do not care about your health. They don't. And when they cause death and destruction, when they cause heartbreak and suffering, they get a pass. Nobody goes to jail. There are no consequences. There's no internal policing. I'd love to have a job like that, wouldn't you? You'd get carte blanche, do whatever you do. You'd be like James Bond. License to kill. That's what your MD has. You better snap out of it. Your MD has a license to kill. Pretty soon you're going to be in their sights. You okay with that? How's that working for you, as Dr. Phil would say? Not very well, I think. Well, you know what the solution is? Fire your MD now. Check out the website. Get on board with our nutritional programs and get your health back. 866-582-9933. That's the number to call today, 866-582-9933. If you're listening to the podcast or want to talk to a living, breathing human being, 855-347-3696 is the number you need. That's 855-347-3696. Let's go to my old stomping ground, Seattle, and talk to Donna about muscular dystrophy. Hey, Donna, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Dr. Glidden, I'm so excited to talk with you. I love your passion. Well, I'm calling about my son who was diagnosed with Becker's muscular dystrophy when he was 12 years old, and he is now 38. And he is doing really fantastic. But we want to get him better. And so I would like some suggestions on how we can help him. I know that you've recommended the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. I'd like to know what the amounts that he should be taking.
All right. Well, this is a very timely call here. I need to check my calendar because coming up shortly in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing a health webinar specifically on muscular dystrophy because we're making a lot of headway in muscular dystrophy communities around the United States. This has all been spearheaded by Dr. Wallach. Dr. Wallach's been working with muscular dystrophy kids in communities, especially the Amish in southern Indiana, for decades now. And we're taking it up another notch because of all of this nonsense that happened with muscular dystrophy and Jerry Lewis in the last couple of years. You may have noticed that Jerry Lewis isn't doing that stuff anymore, right?
Oh, he is not.
Well, there's a reason why he's not doing it anymore, and I'm going to talk about that on the webinar. And it looks at, let me check my calendar here, it looks like my muscular dystrophy webinar is going to be on the 18th. The 18th of July. The 18th of July, that's a muscular dystrophy webinar. Now,
Okay.
you have to be a subscription holder to have that, but you can just subscribe for 1 month, right? Just do a 1-month subscription and check out the July 18th webinar. It's going to be a lot of fun. What I mean by that is one of the benefits to the webinar is, I don't know if you've ever been on a health webinar, one of my health webinars, but it's even more fun than the radio show because we've got people from all over the world, literally all over the world, and there's interactive chat, and there's a good conversation that happens. It's really like kind of sitting around the fire back in the day, chewing the fat and talking to people about real things. You know, there's no BS. We don't have any BS here. It's all about helping people to recover their health to the ability that they're able to with science-based, clinically verified stuff. So check that out if it's possible for you to. But I'm going to tell you our heads up on this anyway right now, because remember, healing is easy and this isn't rocket science. So it is our belief that most forms of muscular dystrophy, if not all, are caused by inadequate nutrition to the developing fetus while he's in the mother's body, you know, in utero. This, of course, would be not the mother's fault, but the pediatrician's fault, because it's the pediatrician's fault to take care of the mother during the pregnancy and to make sure that the baby is born healthy. Well, if your baby's born with a birth defect, then it was the pediatrician's fault. The pediatrician screwed up. The pediatrician dropped the ball. But again, nobody holds the pediatrician's feet to the fire, and everybody just gives them a pass and gives them a raise and gives them some roses on their birthday, and it's nonsense. We believe that most forms of muscular dystrophy are caused by a deficiency in the mineral selenium at certain stages of fetal development, so the mineral selenium. Now, once the switch is flipped, you can't recover. You know, you can't, once someone has Down syndrome, for instance, or a cleft lip or cleft palate, there's nothing, spina bifida, there's nothing you can do to unflip that switch. You have to have surgical procedures done to try to clean it up the best you can. And, well, with muscular dystrophy, it's no different. There's only a certain amount that we'll be able to do with someone who's born with muscular dystrophy. But I got to tell you something. The people that we've been working with for decades now that have had muscular dystrophy, and even the people that we've been working with even for 6 months now who've had muscular dystrophy, there's a young man named Todd. He calls into this show all of the time. He has a big Facebook presence, by the way.
We are Facebook friends.
Okay, great. So he's making remarkable improvements, and it's all documented, right? So there is a way to optimize the body's function, even in the face of a birth defect like this. And you stick around with me. We're coming up against a hard break here, Donna from Seattle, and I'll dial in our muscular optimization program when we come back after these messages. Stick around, Donna. So glad that you called. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Peter Glidden, and you guessed it. This is Fire Your MD Now. 866-582-9933. That's the number to call. 866-582-9933. Better yet, you know the web address, fireyourmdnow.com. If you can't remember that, just do a Google search for Dr. Glidden. I always pop up numero uno. Just click on the Google link, click on the big Bing link, and you are there, and life is good. All right, we've got Donna from Seattle online with us, and she wants to know what to do to help her son optimize his health in the face of a lifelong diagnosis of muscular dystrophy. So this begs the question, Donna, does your son have any other health conditions like blood pressure, arthritis, anxiety, and panic, or anything else?
No, he doesn't, Dr. Glidden. Actually, he went to the doctor for a physical for the first time, I think, in about 15 years, just the other day, and his blood pressure's perfect. His blood work came back really great. He takes really good care of himself, and I've raised him, all my children, all their lives. I was one of the parents where my child was trying to trade their lunch in grade school because, oh my gosh, my mother's giving us all this health food. So they've been raised very healthy, and they've actually seen a naturopath when they were little, when we were living in Southern California. So we're very well versed in all of this. So
very, very good. Well, that makes you.
Otherwise.
All right, good. So that makes you the smartest girl in class now, and that brings, yeah, absolutely. That brings up an interesting point because look, it's I mean, let's be honest. 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was not fashionable to be into health food. I mean, it just wasn't.
It wasn't.
No, people looked down their nose at you. People looked at you like you're crazy and like, oh, health food, what are you, some, tree-hugging granola head? And it's nonsense, right?
Exactly.
So good for you for being a standard bearer for the holistic method when it wasn't fashionable or sexy to be a standard bearer, right? I mean, it wasn't easy 40 years ago. I remember because I was there too. And it brings up an interesting point. I'm a big fan of linguistics and about, language and the origin of terms and this, that, and the other thing. And, it's such a common term that everybody misses it. The term that we use, right, of course, is health food. Well, you're into health food. I do health food. Are you into health food? Yeah, man, I'm into health food. Aren't you? Yeah, I do health food. Well, really? Well, what's the alternative? Death food? Right? I mean, why do we call it health food? It should be just food, but we do need to make a distinction here in the U.S. because there is a dichotomy in the worldview of people. And, you can, in fact, eat death food, and most people do. Most people, because they grew up listening to Betty Crocker, because they grew up listening to their MD, because they grew up listening to the Monsanto minions, they eat all of this crap, which is, in fact, death food. We, on the other hand, have seen the light, and so we eat real food. And the distinction that we have to make in calling it health food, I think, is a testament to how completely over the edge we've gone here in this country in our understanding of even the basic fundamental, nuts and bolts of health. I mean, really, we have to call it health food? Well, yes, we do. And there's a reason why, because everybody in this freaking country is crazy, man, except for Donna from Seattle and Dr. Glidden and everybody else in Youngevity Nation. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Okay.
So, well, first things first. Your son, you, me, the man in the moon, everybody needs to eliminate the 10 bad foods, period. Yeah. Everybody has to do that, number one. Number two, the recommendation for everybody, just to kind of bring themselves up to baseline, the fundamental medical nutrition, is 1 Healthy Start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 1 bottle of selenium, ultimate selenium, per 50 pounds of body weight per month. And I don't like to prescribe generically or recommend generically anybody take more than 4 bottles of selenium a month. So even if you're 250 pounds, I would stop at 4 bottles of selenium a month, okay? So that's 1 bottle of selenium per 50 pounds of body weight per month, stopping at 4 bottles a month. And after that, because of the history of muscular dystrophy, what we want to do is support and promote the structure and function of the muscles. And how do we do that? Well, what's muscles made out of? Muscles are made out of amino acids. Where do we get amino acids from? Well, we get amino acids from protein or the HGH youth complex. HGH youth complex is an excellent nutritional source of amino acids. You don't have to worry about getting 60 grams or 70 or 80 grams of protein a day. You just have to take the HGH youth complex. And the recommendation there is 1 bottle of HGH youth complex per 100 pounds of body weight per month. So if he's up around 200 pounds, or even if he's like, 150, I would give him 2 bottles of HGH Youth Complex a month. And how I dose that is 6 capsules in the morning and 6 capsules immediately before bed. Now, it's never, ever, ever a bad idea to give anybody who's been suffering with a chronic health condition like muscular dystrophy, for goodness sake, that's a chronic health condition. It's never a bad idea in this community to recommend more minerals because right from the dust we were made and to the dust we shall return. And, well, what the heck is the dust? Well, it's minerals, right? 66% of the body is minerals. I mean, the body needs a lot of minerals, man, and especially calcium. It's impossible to overdose on calcium. Well, no, it's not, but it's really hard. Don't listen to your medical doctor. Oh, you get kidney stones from too much calcium. No, you don't, you knucklehead. You get kidney stones from not enough calcium. So in your son's case, or anybody with MD, my recommendation would be once they've done the Healthy Start Pack appropriate for body weight, I would add monthly 1 extra bottle of either the Cal Toddy, which is one type of liquid calcium, or the OsteoFX Plus, which is another type of liquid calcium, or the brand new powdered OsteoFX 2 or whatever it's called. It's a brand new product, but it's the OsteoFX in a powdered form. Whatever one floats his boat. Buy 1 different bottle a month and see which one he likes to take best, and just add that into the bargain. And here's a little secret. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but all of the liquid calciums that Longevity sell, in addition to the main active ingredients, which in this case would be calcium and magnesium and strontium and potassium and a number of other trace elements. There's the 77 plant-derived plant minerals are also in there. So in addition to the calcium stuff, the nuts and bolts for calcium metabolism, you also get an additional dose of the plant minerals, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. So the recommendation would be the Healthy Start Pack, selenium, and HGH appropriate for body weight, and then 1 extra bottle of the liquid calcium a month, plus complete elimination of the 10 bad foods. Now, if your son's a weekend warrior, if he's a gym rat, if he's, plays softball or football or hockey or whatever on the weekends, or if he likes to rollerblade 100 million miles a year or whatever, if he's engaged in athletics, then hook him up with the Rebound FX and have him use that instead of Gatorade while he's working out or when he's doing his athletic stuff. I mean, even if you're just going for a hike in the woods, use the Rebound FX. Even if you're mowing the yard on a hot day and you're sweating bullets, use the Rebound FX, because that's going to replete the body. Now, one thing that is perhaps appropriate, especially for people that have a chronic health condition to do, is I would encourage your son to make a list of his top 5 complaints. Even if he's healthy, right? He's 38. He's got to have things that are not right. Maybe a little acid indigestion, maybe a little insomnia, maybe, bad dreams a couple times a month, maybe a little ache in his left shoulder, whatever. Have him write down a list of the stuff that's bothering him, and once a week, have him check in with the list and give it a numerical score, 0 to 10. 0 being it's completely gone, and 10 being, shoot me now, right? So okay. Have him make a list, and then every week check in with that list, because the problem with treating people with chronic stuff is as the chronic conditions slowly start to fade away, they forget that they had them. And it's a curious thing, but it happens all of the time. I can't tell you how many people have sat down with me on the second visit. They say, "Oh, Dr. Glidden, I don't think that medicine is working very well." And so I bring out their chart, and I say, "Well, what about those headaches that you used to get every night at 2 a.m.? And they look at me like a deer in the headaches, in the headlights. Headaches at 2 a.m., a son of a gun. They're gone. I forgot all about those." Well, all right, what about the hiccups that you used to get, the embarrassing hiccups that you used to get before dinner every night? Well, son of a gun, I can't believe I forgot that. They're gone, too. It's like that. The mind is a funny thing, especially when it comes to chronic disease. So, if he doesn't have, any real outstanding big bad voodoo symptoms, then if he just writes down kind of the status quo of his life, then he'll have a written record of his improvement, and that will make him, perhaps more compliant, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I think that he would be very, very happy to probably be walking less using his cane and just, having I'm sorry, I can't think of the word I want.
Muscle index increase, right? Does he go into muscular dystrophy people and get the baseline testing done? Does he do that every couple of months?
No, Dr. Glidden, he doesn't go anymore, because every time he has gone to the muscle disease clinic, they just kind of put him through the routine stuff and kind of expect him to be worse.
Yeah, it's kind of nonsense, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not worse. He's really been stable all these years, and, just using his cane and using his wheelchair just at work when needed because he has to run around after kids.
Well, it's all right. So one thing that he can do then is just chart and record how many times, in a week he needed the wheelchair for how many hours. How many hours on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I need the wheelchair.
Right.
He can measure with a tape, a tape measure, the size of his calf muscles. He can measure the circumference of his thigh muscles, right? And every couple of weeks he can measure it again and measure it again and measure it again.
Okay.
And that would be awesome. If he could keep some type of numerical record, that would be really great. Because remember, look, I don't care what we're dealing with here. I don't care. I don't care if it's muscular dystrophy. I don't care if it's tonsillitis. What we're looking for is specific and measurable, measurable, and noticeable results inside of a realistic time frame. And a realistic time frame, in his case, would be 90 days. So we want to see something turn here. We want to see the worm turn here in 90 days towards the light in a positive direction. Once we get something positive happening in the first 90 days, heck, it might take 90 hours, I don't know. But once we get something good, then it's only a matter of time, really, until his body comes around to the degree that it's able to come around. Who knows? Maybe 20% better, maybe 50% better, maybe 80% better. Who knows? Time will tell. But do me a favor, Donna from Seattle. Call me back every once in a while with an update, or better yet, become a member of my online health recovery program. Check into the webinars every once in a while and give us an update of your son's progress. Thanks so much for calling, Donna from Seattle. Remember, you are now the smartest person in the Pacific Northwest. Keep up the good work. I'll look forward to hearing from you in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, coming up to the last 5 minutes of the show shortly. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Stick around. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for the last segment of today's July 3rd show. Tomorrow we're going to be running a rerun because it's a national holiday, 4th of July, but I'll be back in the saddle on Friday and looking forward to it. Let's go to Delaware now and talk to Ed. Hello, Ed. Thanks for holding you alive.
Hey, Dr. G. How you making out?
All right, brother. What's happening?
So I've been working out my whole life. I am in your downline. I used to have these bouts with alopecia. I used to get a nice little patch of hair that would just disappear, a whole patch. It would come, it would leave for about 3 months, and it would grow back in. It would leave for another 3 months. It's really embarrassing to have a big patch of hair gone. Make a long story short, I guess it's a testimonial that I'm going to give. I started on the products. It's been completely gone for the year and a half I've been on the product.
Now, so, how big was it, man? The size of a dime, the size of a quarter, the size of a $half?
No, a $half.
Oh,
huge.
man.
Oh, and it sucked. I mean, just having a big patch of hair, I would have to shave my hair down low. But anyway, make a long story short, I started using the minerals and all your products, and boom, gone. Never had another bout of it at all.
You got to love it, man.
I do have a buddy that has had it really bad. He just had it all over his skull and his eyebrows and everything. I was just wondering if you could give a quick explanation.
Well, there's a number of things that can cause hair loss, and the technical term for that, of course, the fancy schmancy doctor term is alopecia, right? A-L-L-O-P-E-C-I-A. And there's a lot of things that can cause alopecia. Sometimes it's related to hormonal imbalances, right? But most of the time, from our point of view, alopecia is caused by chronic undiagnosed nutrient deficiencies. And the body is like a castle. The body has different levels of defense that it uses to protect itself from the environment, because there's nasty crap in the environment, right? And so we have to protect ourselves. Well, the main kind of first defense that the body has is the skin and the hair and the nails. So when the body starts running out of nutrients, it will rob nutrients from non-essential or, less essential tissue, like the hair and the nails, to feed more essential tissue like the kidneys and the heart and the lungs and the liver and the internal organs. So one of the main causes of alopecia or hair loss anywhere on the body, is because it's simple nutrient deficiencies. The body's just so nutritionally starved that it's robbing nutrients from the hair to keep the heart beating, to keep the liver functioning, to keep the gallbladder going, to keep the heart beating, whatever. And so the hair suffers for that and then starts to fall out. Now, if alopecia is related to a hormonal imbalance, well, what causes hormonal imbalances? The sun, the moon, a bad gene? No. Hormonal imbalances are also caused by lack of nutrients in the body most of the time. It's the liver is not functioning properly, the uterus isn't functioning properly, the testes aren't functioning properly, something's not functioning properly. And most of the time, it's a relationship between consistent consumption of all the bad food, all the wrong food, that's hammering your internal organs a little bit at a time, on top of chronic nutrient deficiencies. You can't put a fire out without water. And so when the body runs out of nutrients, it's unable to put the internal fires out, and this accelerates nutrient loss. So it's funny, though, that this is this is really where I think genetics comes into, because genetics is a real thing, but, people don't get conditions because they have bad genes. But it's interesting, because some people can have chronic nutrient deficiencies and they get alopecia. Other people can have chronic nutrient deficiencies and like all over their body. Other people, it's just one spot of their hair. Other people can have chronic nutrient deficiencies and, they get arthritis or a bad heart. And the weak link in somebody's body, I believe, is in fact what we inherit from our ancestors. That's a whole different thing than the MDs talk about. Nobody's talking about this way. So the moral of the story is, especially for your buddy, he has to eliminate the 10 bad foods. Because when we look to the root cause of nutrient deficiencies, it's two things. It's consumption of the food that hurts the tissue in the body that absorbs stuff, and then not enough nutrients. So he's got to eliminate the 10 bad foods. Take the Healthy Start Pack, selenium, and glucogel, appropriate for body weight. And I'd give him extra minerals. I'd triple up on his minerals for 90 days. Keep your fingers crossed and see what happens, Ed from Delaware. That makes you the smartest man on the East Coast. Keep up the good work, brother. You are exactly what your community needs. I'm Dr. Glidden. See you all on Friday.